Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana to chapter 2 under Bala Kanda. In the previous chapter, we have seen Narada visited Valmiki ashrama, and there sage Valmiki asked him a question about a great person having the great values, listed the values of a Purushottama, the best among the men. And then divine sage Narada, in reply to his query, explained the story of Sri Rama in a condensed form, and then Valmiki has found wonder in that story, and in later stage, the same story is elaborated into Ramayana. The wise and eloquent Valmiki, with his disciple Bharadwaja, having listened to the words of Narada, was filled with wonder and worshipped Rama in his heart. He offered obeisance to Sri Narada, who craved permission to depart, and on his request being granted, the Narada ascended through space to the heavens. Narada, having departed, the great Muni Valmiki proceeded to the banks of the river Tamasa, which was close to the Ganga. Reaching that place and seeing the pure and limpid waters, Valmiki said to his disciple, O Bharadwaja, behold how pure is the water of this holy river. Verily, it is clear and pleasant like the mind of a good man. O child, set down the water pot and fetch me my bark robe from the hermitage. I wish to bathe in the sacred stream. Don't delay. Obedient to the command of his guru, the disciple brought the raiment from the sage's hermitage and returning speedily offered it to him. Receiving the robe of bark from the hands of his disciple, this in our culture is also called as narumadi, and that is being worn while taking the bath. The sage, with his senses fully controlled, girded it about him, and while bathing, prepared the traditional prayers, offering libation of water to his ancestors and the gods. These are some of the customs to be done before taking the bath. Then he wandered about in the forest, enjoying the beauties of nature. Now the august sage Sri Valmiki beheld a pair of Krauncha birds fearlessly disporting themselves in love. Soon after, a fowler means a hunter, stealing up unobserved, slew the male bird in the presence of the sage. The female bird, deprived of her yellow crested companion, who but now had been spreading his wings in the act of love to please her, perceiving him bleeding and crying out in distress, began to mourn. The heart of the sage was filled with pity on seeing the birds down by the hunter, touched by the lament of the female Krauncha, incensed by the cruel of the hunter, the sage said, O hunter, having killed the bird in the midst of the enjoyment of love with its mate, you shall never attain prosperity. Do not visit the forest for many years, lest evil will overtake you. This in Sanskrit is also known as a pic, great verse known as Manishada Pratishantva Magamashashwati Sama Kauncha Mithuna Deka Mamadih Kamamohita. The meter of this is a wonderful thing which is followed in the entire Ramayana, and this is also called as the Adi Shloka, the shloka that was created in the beginning before the creation of Ramayana. Reflecting on the words he had addressed to the hunter and realizing their implication, the sage said to himself, "What words are these that I have uttered, inspired by my compassion for the dying bird?" Wise and the learned sage reflected a moment and then said to his disciple, "Grieving for the dying bird, I have recited this verse of 4 feet, each of equal syllables, which can be sung to the veena because it is good to the rhythm. May it brings me renown, and may no ill be spoken of me on account of this." With great delight, the disciple committed to memory the verse composed by his spiritual preceptor, who expressed his satisfaction at the skill of his pupil Bharadwaja, bathing in the sacred river according to the prescribed ritual. The sage returned to his hermitage, pondering over the matter. The humble and learned disciple Bharadwaja followed the great sage, carrying his losta filled with water, also known as kamandalu. On entering the hermitage, the sage worshipped the Lord and performed other rituals, and having instructed his disciple in the tradition and the sacred history, passed into deep meditation. Creator of the world, the self born, the four faced, and glorious Brahma at length appeared before the holy sage. Valmiki rose hastily, filled with astonishment, and welcoming the deity in great humility, offered obeisance to him. Leading him to a seat in profound reverence, he poured forth libations of water as enjoined in the tradition, making inquiries as to his welfare. The blessed Lord accepted the homage offered to him and commanded the sage to be seated. Sri Valmiki occupied the place designated by Brahma and once more recollected his grief over the incident of that wicked hunter who ruthlessly slew the bird that was so happy and cooing with delight. He recalled the grief of the female bird and read and reread the lines, "By the ignorant and wicked fowler, grief is born, for he has wantonly slain the melodious Krauncha," the verse that begins with Manisha the Pratishthantva. Sri Brahma, seeing the sage afflicted and sorrowful, said to him, "O great sage, let these words spontaneously uttered by you, inspired by the death of Krauncha, let it be poetry. Do yourself describe the whole story of Rama, who is the essence of virtue and full of highest attributes, in accordance with what you have heard from Sri Narada. Do yourself narrate all the known and hitherto unknown deeds of Sri Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana, and the Asuras. Whatever relates to King Dasharatha, his wives, city, allies, sayings, conduct, and what he accomplished will be revealed to you by my favor. None of your words will ever prove false. Do yourself render into verse the sacred and delightful deeds of Rama, O sage, as long as the mountains and rivers remain on earth, so long will the story of Sri Rama endure. As so long as the story of Rama endures, so long shall you abide in the higher regions of my loka called as Satyaloka. Having uttered these words, Sri Brahma pondered a while within himself and then vanished from the sight. Great sage and his disciple were filled with amazement at this event, and reading the stanza again and again, their delight grew, repeatedly reciting the couplet composed by Valmiki. They realized that the holy sage had expressed his sorrow in a poetic form. Then sage Valmiki meditated on the Lord within his soul, and it occurred to him to relate the story of Rama in a similar verse. For the good of the world, the illustrious and holy sage therefore began composing the life of Sri Rama in verses that Rama, worthy of worldwide renown, who is both generous and charming, Sri Valmiki composed the story of life of Rama and of the slaying of Ravana in beautiful and measured stanzas, a work of infinite merit. Thus ended the chapter 2 of the Bala Kanda in Ramayana. In this part of the story, we have seen how Valmiki, out of compassion, had created a small shloka in a perfect meter, and the same meter is followed for creating the whole of Ramayana as ordered by Brahma. नमस्ते शारदा देवी काश्मीरपुरवासिनी त्वामहं प्रार्थये नित्यं विद्यादानं च देहि मे. Goodbye.